Fucking weird, man.
Bot Rix has successfully joined the channel.
Big fucking damage.
Stream Elements bot running robot face. Learn how to customize the bot here. https://docs.streamelements.com.
Moves in the water of the whole lake and on this small island, so you may need to search around for it. The whole fucking lake, bro? I see you. Wait, not water collision. Fucking dick. Plays a sound cue when you become able or unable to interact with a target. Hmm. This music sounds like something from Lord of the Rings. Fucking elves.
Do you hear the call of the hunt, adventurer? You must listen closely, but the call comes from deep within you. It comes from deep within all of us. A victory for adventurer in the Ashenvale hunt. Well done. The head of Shadumbra is a fitting trophy to claim for such an impressive fight, no doubt. Shadumbra's savagery was well known throughout the post here. Any trip to the west, especially on foot trying to get out to the Zoram Strand, was wrought with danger because of this tiger. Thanks to you, this danger has abated. Ah, the paw of Ursangus. Your skill is impressive, adventurer. He's credited with numerous kills. The crescent on his paw is no doubt a sign that he was trained by the night elves that skulk about Ashenvale. Ursangus was one of the mightiest bears you'd find in these parts. To have bested such a creature is a testament to your will and resolve. Your ancestors would be proud. You found my brother. He was captured by the Thistlefurs. That is terrible news to hear, for although many furbolgs are noble creatures, the Thistlefurs are corrupt. Thank you for rescuing my brother, adventurer. I do not want to think of how they treated poor Rule. He will likely sleep long after this ordeal.
Yeah, I heard that someone tore up the lake out there like a dust devil through the barrens. From the sound of it, too, we might be able to set up a possible observation area out there to keep an eye on our Alliance friends. Well, that is, if we can keep it on the down low. Looks like you ended up being quite useful after all. The transports between here and Stonetalon should have an easier time of it. Take this. You've earned it. You find a nasty ball of water and decide to bring it to me? Who am I? The earthen ring or something? Actually, that does give me an idea. Perhaps you do need the earthen ring for this. I mean, if it helps clear up the situation at the lake for good, then I'm all for it.
You know who the Earthen Ring are, adventurer? The Earthen Ring is a shamanistic group dedicated to studying and preserving the elements. They have forgotten more about crazy old gods, ancient legends, and lore than most scholars will ever know. Lucky for you, I know someone in the Earthen Ring here in Ashenvale. Head over to Zoramgar Outpost on the coast of the Zoram Strand. Show Janu Sankria what you found. If anyone can figure out that globe's significance, it'd be him.
Updated with Season 3 beta testing round 1.
Thanks for helping me out. Oh, and this
April
is for your
16th.
time.
That was yesterday. What do we got on here? Endless Hail Mid? Oh, they got some new builds on here. Inferno decent, Hydra decent. Ah. Summon Druid decent, Armageddon Auto Bomber decent. Decent for wind elemental? I don't know about that. Arctic Blast Hurricane. Summon Mind Blast, good. Fire, good. Blade Sentinel, Venom Top. There's no way. Pick a Fire Top. Warcry is top? What? Whirlwind Two-Hander is top. Split Throw bad. Warcry? We need to try that, I think.
Well done, adventurer, well done. I will continue to send forces to thin out the Furbog, but I can at least count on a different path that will be free of Alliance entanglements. The Horde conquest of Ashenvale is now in full swing. You've earned your pay this day, hero. I salute you. Where would you like to fly to?
Under Bluff. Okay, so they're getting the builds updated. Warcry, huh? The video isn't available. Go to streamable? What is this? Oh wow, Amazon got gutted. No way. Crackle shot. Bad. Poison Nova, Poison Strike. Elemental Summoner Mage Skelly Revive. What do they have for it? Do they have Grim's Burning Dead? They do. I don't think this is completely up to date yet, but Dark Pack good, Teeth Bone Spirit good. Scolders, D-Web, 220 item, Trains Gloves, Belt, and okay. Silkwave makes sense. Poison Skillers. Hey, you want the Static Wolf work because they put 15 points into that? They max that. Do you even care about lower resist though? Don't you want to just tele and press right click? A second. Poison resistance. Okay. Revive. Bad. Pure clay slash blood. It's mid. Interesting. Okay, so did they update the leveling portion of it yet? Is Warcry really that good? What about Pally? Night Sacrifice, Holy Fire Sacrifice, Sanctuary Sacrifice. Moradin, Is it bad, mid, decent? Yeah, bad, mid, decent, good, top. Legend. No one has a legend on here. Rating. Barb's in a good spot, man. This needs. But while leveling, I'm either gonna go play golems or I guess fucking Warcry, man. Really that good. What's the base planner? Dual spirits, crafted gloves, stealth, lore, Warcry's amulet, crafted rings, crafted belt. Insight merc, I guess. Does amp damage effect or cry? Or cry deals physical damage by reducing enemy physical resistance, amp damage, and decrepify significantly boosts the skill's killing speed, particularly against physical immune enemies. What's the build? Warcry. Howl, battle cry. Battle command. Battle orders. Okay, so one in a leap, obviously. You max out Warcry. Max out battle cry. Max out battle command. Increase all current skill levels for you and your party. Grant an additional skill level every 10 base levels. Then your remaining points into Howl. Because more damage. Makes sense. Go that right away. Go while leveling. PD2 best barb leveling build in a group. So recently I started my first playthrough of Diablo 2 D2R. I'm a melee only enjoyer, and after reading some guides, I figured the only really viable way to level Barb was the Warcry build. I really don't like the class fantasy of shouting and killing stuff, so my goal was to level with Warcries and then as soon as possible switch to Frenzy. I'm now close to finishing Hell difficulty. At times I stop pushing the campaign to farm some stuff, but I'm nowhere near minimum gear requirement for max roll Frenzy bar build. I don't want to play a skill or a build that I don't like for the majority of my playthrough. And at some point, I put everything together and that's it. Now my question, is this different in PD2? Can I level with Frenzy / double swing until 30, then go into Whirlwind and stay Whirlwind forever? If I plan on playing a specific build, then I want to be able to play it for the majority of the playthrough. And I also want to play it while gearing for it, but it should not be an absolute pain in the ass, which are. If this is so much easier possible for you, I just went full Frenzy last season, plus synergies complete uninterruptible, so faster hit recovery isn't even a consideration. Dual Grandfathers or Doombringer or Flame Bellow, whatever floats your boat. Best time of my life. P3 maps with ease. Didn't boss with it though. Maybe not the greatest clear, but I enjoyed every minute of it. Until you see the grandfather nerf. And it was built in Splash and PD2 leveling as strongly. This didn't answer my question. The best group leveling barbarian build is a Warcry barbarian for support and AoE damage, or a Frenzy double swing barb leveling melee splash for early leveling. Warcry provides massive utility with Warcry, Battle Orders, and Battle Command, making it an excellent party. Leveling strategies. Melee improvements, PD2, blah blah blah. Battle Command and Battle Orders use items with faster cast rate and skills.
This little planner. So as you can see, you're in Amazon, you're level 1. You put a point into jab, you can put a point into critical strike, into inner sight, which you'll just need because it's part of. And the next class is the Barbarian class. Barbarian, in my opinion, is the hardest one to level through the campaign. I say the hardest one, I don't know if it's hard more than it's slow than the other ones. But you do have a lot of different options, and he was buffed in Season 11, so it's a little bit easier now. So let's have a look at his skill trees, what you're going to do in terms of leveling, and how you're going to change it up once you get into Nightmare. So for Barbarian, you have two paths you can go for. You can go with the
What? Very
physical
good.
path and
This
warp
can
path.
rouse
I'm gonna
requests
go
just
with them.
fine. Could you
Either way, you're
deliver this
gonna
to me?
start
You
normal
might
by
enjoy
leveling
spending
double
some
swing
time out in the needles.
and frenzy. So,
Bring the filled
I
file
usually
to
took
Rao
one at the
Cliff
General
Rock, the
Mastery.
free wind
I put a
post
few
in
points
southeastern
into
Thousand
swing, got a few
Needles.
points
You can
into
get to the
frenzy,
Thousand Needles
grabbing
by
my
taking the
passives,
Great Lift at the southern edge of the barrens.
whenever I can.
I wouldn't be
Course,
surprised
and a lot of
if you
people
can
like
help us
grabbing
out further.
point and leap as well. So you'll pretty much just be maxing your frenzy as levels go, and about level 30, this is how you're gonna look like, with a few points in double swing, a point in leap, a point in your passives, a point in battle command, and the rest in frenzy. So that's like a pretty normal way to level through normal, finish the campaign. The reason I max frenzy over double swing is mostly because it's more comfortable to run faster and just like have this health. This is just a personal preference. You can max double swing instead of frenzy and just have a point here, but then you have to always keep the buff up. So it's kind of like your choice in terms of what you want to do. Either way, this is pretty easy to finish normal with. But once you get to Nightmare, you'll pretty much have to make a choice whether you stick to the physical build or change into the Warcry build. Warcry is a little bit nicer in Nightmare. It'll make you tankier, it'll give you more plus skills, which is definitely a benefit, makes your passives better as well. So Warcry has all these advantages. Basically, staying on Frenzy and Double Swing will require you to find solid weapons, or maybe to farm a little bit longer till you find the right runes to make good rune wards. So you can do it. It's a little bit harder in my opinion. If I was in hardcore, I would go Warcry personally. The downside of Warcry is mostly that you need to use two respecs. One to get into Warcry and then another one to leave Warcry once you want to start farming maps, since Warcry requires a lot more gear to get into maps. So keep those things in mind. I'm going to explain both of them in terms of leveling. If you do choose to go with the Frenzy route and like the physical route, we are going to be maxing Double Swing and Frenzy, and these two will be maxed, and then you can either max Stun, which is a synergy, or max General Mastery. I personally max General Mastery first, and you can put 1 point into Stun as you level. Of course, you won't get all the way there, right, as you level. As you can see, by level 78 or 79, you'll have all your synergies maxed in terms of Double Swing and Frenzy. You'll have your General Mastery, you'll have your passives, and 1 point in Battle Command. If you're one of those people who likes getting Find Item, then I guess you can do it, but yeah, that's up to you. You can also get Grimward if you want. Personally, I don't get it when I just do leveling, since I move around way too much and I end up not using it, so it's just like a personal choice. If you do choose to level up this way, you will want to pay attention to rune words like Lionheart. This gives you all resistances, some damage, a lot of stats, which is very nice for Barbarian. So free socket armor, Hell, Lum, and Foul. You can pretty much get this in Nightmare if you stick there and farm, or in early Hell. If you farm the Countess, getting a Foul rune is not too hard. And Lawbringer is also another very nice one. If you find yourself a Lem rune, maybe from your Hellforge in Hell, or from just a Countess or something while you're farming, this will give you the crap on strike, which helps your safety a lot. It gives you a lot of damage, also some elemental damage, lifesteal. Just a really nice sword early on. That's what I used personally when I was leveling my last barb, so I think this is a really nice option. Now, there is also a world where you don't go with the physical route. You respec a Nightmare and you go with a Warcry. So let's reset here and show how that looks like. So if you do choose to respec, let's say at level 30, which is pretty normal time when you go into Nightmare, this is how you're going to look like basically. So you're going to be maxing your Warcry. Of course, you're going to grab every point of your passives. So as you can see, you have a couple skill points that's going to be left over, and you can do a bunch of things with this. You can either go into Battlecry immediately, which is what I did personally, grabbed myself a point in Battlecry so I can reduce physical res on opponents. You can also max Battle Command, and that would take till level 50. So this will give you extra skill points to everything, which is super helpful in the beginning. So it's not a bad idea. So you can go ahead and do this. So for, of course, make your battle orders and shout a little bit better. After that, I personally would max battle cry. As you can see, this would take about level 57 to have all 3 of those maxed. With the passives, some people like grabbing leap as well for movement. Of course, you can do that if you'd like to. This would take all the way to level 60. So this is how this looks like. After that, you can either max your battle orders if you want to be safer. You can max your howl if you want to do more damage. You can put a Grimoire point up there if you want to have it. That's also okay. It's totally up to you. I personally maxed howl just to do as much damage as possible. As you can see, that's how I farmed all the way till I finished hell. The key items you want to pay attention to as a Warcry Barb are going to be, as always, the lore Runeward, giving you +1 skills on your helmet. The Myth armor, free socket armor, Hell, Am, and Nef. It can give you up to 2 skills to Barb. This is pretty cheap to make if you find some Hell runes early on. It just gets you those plus skills, which are going to boost your damage.
Gives you
And
MPK
getting, of
too.
course, some Spirit Swords. Remember that Barb can dual wield swords even as a Warcry Barb, so you can get yourself 2 swords, giving you up to 70 FCR, and yeah, +2 all skills on the non-staff weapons. This is a really easy way to just get yourself a ton of FCR and plus skills. Normally, when you're looking for spirit, you're doing it in a shield, which takes all the way to hell, where you can fight a 4-socket shield that's not only for paladins. So yeah, that's really, really nice for the barb to be able to run 2 swords like that. And that's how I personally ran my Warcry barb. And of course, Insight, the good old reliable weapon. You can use this both on an Act 2 and an Act 4 Merc. Personally, I went with the Act 4 Merc as the Barbarian. I ran myself the Dark Merc. The reason is, both on the physical and the Warcry build, you want to get yourself just the amp. The amp is just really good. If you are in hardcore, maybe you still want to get yourself a Defiance Merc just for the extra safety. There's nothing wrong with that. Both of these builds are fairly safe, especially the Warcry one, where you get really high level of your battle orders and of your shout. But either way, going with Defiance Merc is always okay. We're always in favor of running Defiance Merc. So that's what you do in terms of gear, in terms of Merc, in terms of skills, attributes as always. Strength to wear your gear, dexterity if you need any for your gear, the rest goes into vitality while leveling. And in terms of where do you farm on this build, and yeah, I'm losing my health because I'm with Soul Drainers, I believe, here. If you are farming early on, whether it's Warcry or Frenzy, for both of them, I really like farming Travancore. It was a really nice area to farm. Barb doesn't have too much mobility. I don't even like putting a point into Leap normally for this. So what I ended up doing is I just went into Travancore. You run over here. It's pretty fast. You kill them, the Travi Council, and they can drop you a bunch of set items and early uniques that can really help. You can also farm in Nightmare. Farming Nightmare Mephisto as a Warcry Barb is not too bad. You can find a lot of good items there, like Spirit Shroud, Shaco, I forget the name of the armor, Viper Magi armor. So you have a lot of good options there, for sure. So farming bosses in Nightmare, farming keys is an option. In Hell, of course, and Travancore. These are the areas that I would farm. I know a lot of people like farming pits with a barb. I personally don't really like it. It feels like it takes too long to get there. So I wasn't a big fan. But Travancore, keys, key areas. Going to Frigid, of course, Eldritch and Shank.
You think pits takes longer than fucking Mephisto?
Or as Frenzy. So these are the 2
fucking
options
high,
that I
my
recommend
dude.
for barb. That's it. Let's move on to the next class. Our next class is going to be the Necromancer, I believe. No, it's the Druid. Alright, next class is Druid. And from all the classes in the game, I think Druid might be the easiest one to level through the campaign. He doesn't require respecking. He doesn't require anything too complicated. You have 2 options, generally speaking. One of them is Summoner and the other is Summoner. So we're going to go over how you level this, what do you do to get yourself ready. So let me open the planner so everybody can see it. As you can see, as a druid, you'll start leveling your ravens, and you basically just want to max your ravens as fast as possible. You can grab a point into Gust if you do want to teleport early on. If you're in hardcore, maybe you skip those points. If you're in softcore, usually you take them. You can put a point into Heart of Wolverine early if you'd like to as well. The reason you want to max ravens as fast as possible is because once you get to level 20, you summon 3 of them at a time, and that's an insane change. It'll basically be your core damage throughout the campaign. Now, once you get to level 30, you'll grab yourself a point in Bears. If you're not leveling Gust, I really recommend putting a point into Werewolf and Lycanthropy. This will both give you more health and like some damage reduction, which is really nice, especially for hardcore. But just like to be more tanky, you are pretty fragile overall. You don't have to do this again. This is optional, and Gust is optional. I'd recommend usually to choose one of them and go with them. Personally, if you want to go into bossing later and you don't want to respec, this is probably the way to go. Go with Lycanthropy because you do use this in bossing. So with that said, as you level up, you'll keep leveling up your Grizzly Bear, which you will finish at level 50. The extra points you can put into Heart of Wolverine, which will be the third skill that you max, and you'll usually max it around level 60. Yeah, around level 60 you'll have this maxed. Lastly, you'll max your Spirit Wolf, which you should be done with around level 72 to 75. That's normally the range where you max it. You can grab a point into your Creepers. They're not bad. I personally usually don't need them, but you can put a point into each of them. It'll help your region a little bit, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. You can put a point into Oak if you want to, but I personally skip it until I get Keeper. Because you can't summon more than one spirit, and Heart of Wolverine is the spirit you want to have active at all times. Once you finish maxing all of these, you have 2 options. You can either put points into Direwolf as a synergy to Raven, or alternatively, you can put more points into Gust if you have Gust leveled, or more points to Lycanthropy if you want to have more safety as you level, especially in hardcore. This is pretty recommended. So again, any of those is okay, but as you can see, pretty simple leveling scheme, no respec needed, and you basically just want to stack skill points. That's your goal. So how do you do that? So firstly, use, of course, where's my lore rune word? Right, that's our favorite rune word today. When leveling, Orphan Soul, 2 sockets. Ideally, you find a helm, like a druid helm, that has +3 to ravens to put this on. This will be a really good find early on. You'd really like to find something like that as a druid. So I recommend looking for one of those. Other than that, you of course want to have your insight on your merc. And the merc you want to use is either an Act 2 and Act 4 merc. Yes, these are usually the best for leveling. Act 4 merc gives you amp, which is a lot of your damage is physical, so it's great. Act 2 merc will give you Defiance, of course, which is very nice. You can also use the aggressive one. You don't have to use the defensive one. The defensive one will just make it safer overall, so these are the 2 that I recommend. So Act 2 or Act 4 merc, Defiance or Dark merc with the insight. This helps you keep up your mana early on. You don't really need the mana, you can use potions, but it's just like a nice, good stick for the merc. Alternatively,
this is all gonna change.
You can use Purity as well, which will give you the Prayer Aura. Again, will give you a little bit more regen. Is okay, it's not bad. Both are fine choices. So Purity or Insight, both are okay. Other rune words you want to know are, of course, Ancient's Pledge. As a druid, getting your resistances might be a little bit difficult. Ancient's Pledge does a great job at fixing that. Of course, you can upgrade the Spirit later on, get some FCR and plus skills, which is always nice. And the last rune word you want to know is Neophyte. Neophyte is a club rune word, or you can make it in other things, of course, orbs, claws, scepters, staffs. But you're going to make it in a club, and I'm going to show you exactly in which club you're going to make it. As you can see, it gives you 30 FCR, it gives you half freeze duration, it gives you other stuff that you don't really care about,
you
like
want a +3 Raven club.
And after each kill. These don't matter as much, but the reason you want to make it is especially for the FCR and the half freeze duration. So the way you want to go about getting yourself a Neophyte, the base that you want to get, is over here sold at Charcy. So the way you're going to go about it is while you're in normal, every now and then you're going to check Charcy while you're still in the lower levels, and you're going to look for a club like this that's, you know, white quality club, and you're going to try and find one with 2 sockets maybe that has +2 ravens up to +3 to ravens. Charcy can sell them while you're still low leveled. I don't remember if it's exactly to level like 20, 24, whatever it is, but she only sells them early on, so you have to get them while you're still leveling. And that's going to be your neophyte base, one with +3 to ravens. It's really strong. You're going to keep it all the way through hell usually, unless you find like a really nice stick later, but it's basically the thing that you're going to keep with you till you finish the campaign. So you can shop those at Charcy. It's pretty free, and that's your neophyte base, which will give you 30 FCR and the half freeze duration. 30 FCR is really important. It gives you this breakpoint for summoning. It makes your summoning life a lot easier and a lot nicer. That's pretty much all you need to know about leveling with Druid. Remember, low rune word, Ancient's Pledge or Spirit. Get yourself a neophyte, and then whatever you can get to get plus skills for the Druid class or for ravens and for bears. So that's what you need to know. With that said, where do you farm as Druid? Druid is kind of the king of farming early on. I'm gonna erase this guy. You don't really need him. So in terms of areas you can farm, personally, I love farming Chaos Sanctuary on Summon Druid. It's really easy to get to, whether you run with Gust or if you have a teleport stick on your Switch. Just teleporting them there really quick is really nice. Farming Travancore is incredibly effective. Farming bosses like the Act bosses like Andario, Duriel, Mephisto, Diablo, and Bale are all easy for him. And of course, farming keys is incredibly effective. Outside of Arcane Sanctuary, where there are a lot of physical immunes and you have to kind of skip a lot of things, farming Izuul is very strong on him. He's very good at farming Izuul. Farming the the Countess and the Blood Raven are both good. So he's very flexible. He pretty much can farm anywhere he wants to. Just like an incredibly good early farmer and leveling character. And I think for everyone who is like first time self-leveling, you know, leveling through the campaign, I think this is one of the easiest, most recommended choices. I think most people will agree that Druid is incredibly, you know, user-friendly for a beginner. And it's my recommendation personally if you're first time leveling through the campaign. So, Summoner Druid. That's the 5th class, I believe, or no, the 4th class that we talked about today, and we're going to move on to the 5th one, this time actually being the Necromancer. So let's get to it. Necromancer is another one of those 2-part leveling schemes where we go through normal with one skill, then we respec and go with another. So our first skill that we're going to use is Poison Strike. Poison Strike is incredibly strong. It's actually very strong all the time, but it's very strong for early leveling. So we're going to showcase just how you go about it. How do you level your skills, level by level. Alright, so as you start, you'll get yourself points into Poison Strike. You can pretty much max it from the get-go. You can grab a point in Bone Armor if you'd like to, but you really don't have to. It's not necessary. So pretty much this is how you're going to look like by level 23. You can grab Blood Warp, of course, by level 24 if you'd like to. And that's how you're going to look like in terms of skills. Remember, a few of these skill points are from the quests. So after that, you can start maxing your Bone Armor. Just to get more synergy points. It's a synergy for Poison Strike, so you can max it if you'd like. And once you get to Nightmare, we're going to respec. The reason is not because Poison Strike is weak, just because you're going to be very fragile. It's going to be a little scary to go around with Poison Strike and Nightmare, especially if you're in hardcore. So once you get to Nightmare, you're going to use your respec from the first quest. You go ahead and grab yourself some clay golems. So that's how I like to go about it. I like to use clay golems. Some people prefer skeletal mages. Everybody has their own preferences. Everybody do whatever you like. I'm just going to give my recommendation as to how I enjoy leveling the Necromancer. So once you're in level, 30, maybe a couple more levels, I don't really know, in normal. So you're going to do something like this. You're going to max your clay golems. You're going to grab Blood Warp. And you're going to put some point into your clay golems. Now, by level 40 or so, this will be maxed because you have extra points from the skill quests. and you're going to start going towards grabbing your revives, and revives are your secondary summon in this setup. You can of course grab bone armor and desecrate, so you can have like somewhere to summon your revives with. So this is kind of how you're gonna look like by the time you finish Hell, which is how you're gonna continue with this. You're gonna have your revives maxed. You can already do this in Nightmare if you want to stick in Nightmare Bale and do Bale waves in Nightmare, or farm Chaos Sanctuary in Nightmare to get to around level 60. So you feel more comfortable and ready for Hell. That's fine. Necro is a little bit fragile sometimes, but this build is very strong for getting through the campaign. The Clay Golems are going to carry you pretty hard, and the revives are going to be very strong. Now, something that you want to keep in mind, a lot of people are not sure which revives to use. Once you unlock Act 3, you pretty much want to grab yourself the Travancore waypoint, and you want to go to Travancore. Whenever you want to revive anything, you want to go to Travancore, and you want to do something like this. Cast Desecrate, and you're going to get free Night Lords. You don't have to kill the council, you don't have to do anything. You get these for free every time once you get this waypoint. Whether you're in Nightmare or in Hell, this is where you want to resurrect normally. If you have like the patience to kill the council and then resummon them, that's even better. The council members are even better summons, but these guys will definitely be enough for you. So that's just as kind of like a tip where to summon your revives. The same goes for when you're early mapping or early farming or maybe doing Ubers. These summons are incredibly powerful. They cast meteors, they do fire and physical damage. They're just very, very strong. So I really recommend reviving them, just getting used to grabbing the Travi waypoint, going here, casting Desecrate, reviving. As you can see, it takes 10 seconds and you're pretty much ready to go. A lot of people don't like revives because it takes like too much time to set up. This is how I set it up. It's very easy and it's very strong. So back to the planner. As you're leveling with these like revives and golems approach, you will want to grab yourself lower res. You grab the lower res for the revive, so you can grab it after you max them. It's not necessary that you have it before. You can have a point and amplify damage. If you'd like, if you are in hardcore, you can grab a point and decrepify instead for extra safety. This will also lower physical resistance for for the monsters. So decrep is a good curse to have. Lower res is a good curse to have. Amp will be coming from your mercenary because you'll be running, you guessed it, the Act 4 Merc. That is my go-to Merc for this leveling scheme. He's just a very good leveling Merc. Even after he was nerfed, he's incredibly powerful. So again, Act 4, grab yourself a Dark Merc. He will cast Amp for you. Even as a Necromancer, you can grab yourself an Act 2 Merc if you want to, the Defiance Merc. I really think it's unnecessary. The Golems are incredibly tanky. You'll have the revives. So normally you're pretty much fully surrounded and protected from all directions, and you even have bone armor. So I personally go with the Act 4 Merc, just getting more damage in there. But it's up to you if you want to go with something else. On to notable items that you should pay attention to. As you can see, once you finish leveling all of this, you can grab yourself more synergies if you want to. So you can either raise Desecrate for the synergies to revives. You can raise the synergies to Clay Golems, which is fine as well. It's really up to you. Both are okay. Personally, I went with the synergies to Golems. That was my choice, so I leveled Iron Golem like this. Yeah, the quest filled. So I think this is how my setup looked like when I got to level 80. But you can go with extra points in Desecrate if you want more elemental damage and like damage on the revives. Both are okay in my opinion. That there's no like better, or maybe there is better, but both of them felt okay to level with. Alright, on to notable items. As always, Lore Helmet. This is a build that prioritizes plus skills. You're not attacking or anything, so Lore Helmet early on. Soul and Ort Rune. I hope this is carved to everybody who watched this video. Important rune word, make sure you make it. Keep a helm for it. Smoke rune word. First time I'm mentioning this today. A great armor for leveling. Gives you 30 to 50 ult res. A pretty big deal. And 20 FHR as well. So really important kind of armor. As Necro, getting your resistances will be a little bit difficult early on. So again, smoke rune word, really important. Ancient's Pledge. likewise is very important until you find your Necro offhand, which usually I find them normally either a Nightmare or an early Hell, where you find like a nice Necro offhand. There are really nice ones. Ancient's Pledge is a really good way to solve that. And of course the Insight on the Merc. You'll be using a lot of mana on this build to resummon. So having the Insight Merc, whether it's an Act 2 or an Act 4 Merc, is great. Alternatively, if you don't want the Insight Merc, again, you can use Purity, another cheap rune word that you can easily make to keep your summons healing with a Prayer Aura. Again, this is used both for an Act 4 Merc or an Act 2 Merc, not only for an Act 2 Merc. So you can match it with whatever Merc you're running. So both of these are great. The Smoke Rune Ward for the resistances is important as well. And we already kind of mentioned before, this is a great character for killing Ubers and for killing bosses. So you can run boss farming with this. You can go to Chaos Sanctuary, of course. Personally, again, I like farming Travancore with this guy, then going for a key run. Normally, on Necromancer, if I use revives, I don't like farming just Travancore, because then I waste a lot of time reviving and then resetting the game. So I'll use my revives, I'll kill Travancore, I'll revive the council members, then I'll go ahead and kill, you know, all the key bosses that I want to kill. So
Vampire Necro Desecrate. Nobody plays Desecrate. Poison Strike Desecrate. Here we go. 5 months ago. End of season 11. Why are you showing the trash? Why aren't you showing your gear? Does it do that much damage? That's crazy. Oh my god. It does that much damage? Dude, what is that damage, bro? What? That's so fucking bonkers. What? Can I see your gear? Alright, so he dodges the... Okay. He's got revive. Is he just literally pressing Desecrate and nothing else? Okay, once he desecrates, shit dies. Okay. He doesn't even spec into lower res. I guess there's no point because you can't curse. He's desecrating the boss instead of poking him. Interesting. This fight does not look fun. He's spec into bone wall on bone prison. Interesting. Better fill your potions, bud. I wonder if they updated the bossing. March 23rd, 20. So for declone, they got desecrate easy. Wrathman, they got desecrate and revive is hard. Poison strike. March 23rd. We're in April. This wasn't even updated at all. This done a very challenging fight as a necromancer for sure. Getting the items were very difficult that late into the season, but I'm pretty happy with that gear. And he's got his build. It says necromancer. PD2 easiest. Summon Druid. Okay.
Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna do a guide on Berserk Barbarian, which is the character that I've started my GSF with and aimed for tier 2 bossing with. This is one of the more popular builds for Barbarian to boss with, and I think it's very strong, very simple to build, and also very intuitive to play. So if you're new into bossing and you like playing Barbarian, I think this is definitely the build for you. Other Barbarian bossers like Fro, or maybe using Whirlwind or Wolf Barb, are also very strong. I don't think they're stronger or weaker. I think all the Barb builds are very strong and capable. But I think this one is the most like easy to play. So I'm just gonna go with this one as my main recommendation. I also chose this build because it's simple to piece out in terms of gear. Even though the weapons can be a little bit expensive sometimes, you don't need to have the most high-end weapons to reach good results, which is kind of what I proved in this GSF, and other people proved it before me. I'm sure like there's plenty of other barbs who've done it with way worse gear than mine. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the Berserk Barbarian. How do you level it? How do you skill it? And then we'll do examples of all the different contents in the game. We'll do a map, we'll do Uber Ancients, Ubers. It basically can do everything, and with pretty similar gear at the end of the day. So let's get to it. Berserk is a skill in the combat skills for Barbarian, and it's over here. It has two prerequisites, double swing and concentrate, and it requires you to use two weapons. You have to have two weapons in order to use it.
That's huge.
You cannot use it with one weapon. It has two synergies, taunt and combat reflexes, one in each skill tree. And it deals a lot of damage, and the main thing you should remember about it is that it reduces your physical damage reduction by 10% when you use it. I think in the beginning, the first few levels, it's less, but after you put a few points into it, it gets to minus 10%. That's very, very important, because that means that at all times you want to have at least some damage reduction. It means that amp can be very scary to you. And you can be, you know, shot for a lot of damage. So if you are playing hardcore, if you just want to stay safe, make sure to have some PDR on your gear, even if you're not bossing. So this is the Berserk skill. These are the two prerequisites. Since you are using two weapons, normally you'd have some points in Frenzy, and that's normally the skill that you'll be dumping the rest of your skill points into after you finish maximizing what you need. Now let's go to Combat Masteries. Over here, you'll be using General Mastery, since you'll be using like axes, swords, and maces normally. So you'll max General Mastery to get that like attack rating, the damage, the crit strike, and all the good stuff that General Mastery gives you. Combat Reflexes, this is a synergy to taunt, and gives you increased hit recovery, life, and stamina. The stamina doesn't matter too much, but it does give you a lot of FHR. It makes it so it's very easy to hit 48 FHR. It's almost like a given that you hit this breakpoint, and hitting 86 is also not too hard with a little bit of gear. So really, really nice overall. Combat Reflexes. Normally you'll put a point into increased speed and natural resistances. There's no reason not to put a point into them. They're so valuable with just 1 point. And generally speaking, like I like putting 2 points into Iron Skin. You can see that every 2 points gives you 1 physical damage reduction. The rest just gives you defense, so at least 1 point for sure to get that natural resistance. But I like having 2 points because, as we said, we love having physical damage reduction. That's the Masteries page. And the Warcries page, I always like having at least 1 point in Battle Command. Such a great skill, shame to miss it. And 1 point in Grimward is for people who want to boss. This is super useful. Grimward is basically an insane like value point. Taunt is a synergy for Berserk. So you also max Taunt to get your damage. And Taunt is a great skill. It reduces the target damage and attack, and again will be used in Declone, especially in the bossing scenario. So very, very good skill. Make sure to use it, don't forget about it. So these are the general skills that you'll be using. If you don't have a Grandfather's as part of your weapons, Grandfather's gives you not Grandfather, sorry. If you don't have like a skill into Battle Cry from any of your items, I'm getting it from I think my halberds. right? Yeah. So if you don't have any skill points into halberds, into battlecry, and you're not using halberds, for example, point into battlecry can be very good. It's very useful, especially when mapping. So 1 point here is also a solid investment. That's kind of like the rundown on your skills. You max out your berserk, you max out your synergies. If you're leveling as berserk, then you'll max out probably combat reflexes pretty early, because you want to have the extra life early on. Like, the life really helps. Just getting more flat life. Maxing taunt can be helpful when you're mapping. So like, by the time you're mapping, you want to have taunt maxed. Having a point, of course, and having like max general mastery will help you get through the campaign. So these are the general things that you'll kind of be leveling up as you're going. In terms of attributes, normally you'll need some strength and dexterity, because in most cases you're going to be using swords that do require a lot of dexterity. Around the 100 to 110 is normally where you want to be. See, I'm at 103. That's kind of what I need for my gear. And like strength, somewhere between usually 150 to like 190, depending on what weapons you use, is like the areas of strength that you'll need. You can have more for damage, but generally having more vitality, especially if you're going to be bossing, is the recommendation. So that's kind of like my setup. That's what I ended up doing. I get a lot of bonus because I'm using a grandfather's, which just gives you a ton of stats. Now let's talk a little bit about gear. And I'm gonna talk both about like budget gear and like what I started with, and about like the more advanced gear and what you want to be going for later. And then in the bossing section for each boss, I'm going to talk about the gear that you want to be using for the bosses. So we're going to be separating them. Right now I'm talking about general gear if you're mapping, if you're doing Uber Ancients, Ubers, things like that. And then later we'll talk about like more boss specific gear and things that you want to be changing. But generally speaking, the weapons can be used in all scenarios. So in terms of gear, generally speaking, you want to be using 2 weapons, and the weapons that I've seen are the most popular ones are like Doombringer and Grandfathers. And just to clarify, you do need attack speed for this build, but you only need it on 1 weapon, and some bases are faster than others. So without like getting too much into the weeds of it, if you are using a setup like Doombringer and Grandfathers, you'll have your attack speed on the Doombringer because it's a faster base. And you can check it through like an IS calculator, but it's a little bit confusing. So generally speaking, just stick to having like IS on 1 weapon. For example, if you're running the BK set, like some weapons naturally have IAS, so you can already go with them. Or if you're running like a weapon like Lyric Mithril Bane, you can run the IS on it. If you're running crafted weapons, then you'll just figure out which one is better. You can kind of test it by like if you have sockets in both weapons that are free. I don't have that right now, but if you do have it, you can check like the breakpoints just by like placing the weapons like this and seeing like which ones get which breakpoints. You'll see that they have different ones. So that's something you can do. You can look into it, but generally speaking, if you're doing Doombringer and Grandfathers, which is the most common combination, then you'll have your IS on the Doombringer. Now, as you can see, I have 60 IS on this. You don't necessarily need it because you will be using Frenzy while playing. So as you can see, I don't have my last breakpoint, of course, but as I'm charging my Frenzy, right, using the Frenzy skill that we talked about, right, you'll see that the breakpoints become easier to kind of use or to reach. So right now I have 82 IAS, 60 on my weapon, and a little bit on something else. And as you can see, 9 FPA is the highest breakpoint for Berserk. I'm now finally maximum charged, and that's how you check that you reach the final breakpoint. And this is of course already the Berserk skill. So I know it's a little confusing. I know it's a little bit, you know, a lot of like numbers and things that kind of, you know, jumble together. Generally speaking, these are things you can always like experiment with using shales. If you're like unsure, just put a couple of shales in like a weapon if you have sockets and see which breakpoints you're getting. What does it look like after you're charging your frenzy? And that's basically like the best way to confirm stuff, is to check them on the spot. Don't like count that it's working because you saw it in a video or something. It's always better to check for yourself. That's what I ended up doing, because I've seen some contradicting information in different like places. So anyway, let's get back to the gear. Once you figure out your weapons, you can add up all of the rest of the gear. And generally speaking, the helm to go for this build is Halberd's Reign, because it gives you that 15% PDR, or up to 15% PDR, gives you barbarian skills, gives you masteries, gives you FHR, so much good stuff, gives you flat attack rating, which is great. I have like all sorts of things socketed into it because I was bossing with it, but generally speaking, you'll socket it with either enhanced damage, min-max, resistances if you need them, or any other defensive stuff if you're missing them. So that's for the helmet. If you want to have other helmets, I start with a Crown of Ages. That helps you sort out your resistances early on, gives you physical damage reduction. It's great. We have Vampire Gaze. It gives you Dual Leech, gives you a lot of physical damage reduction. Again, the physical damage reduction point is super important, and these are the general helms that you'll be using. If you find an area early, that's also okay. It gives you resistances and skills, so another solid helmet that you can use. Other than that, if you're just leveling with this build and you're reaching hell and it's getting more difficult, you need like a helmet, you don't have any of those yet, you can always craft a safety helmet. So safety helmet will give you, I can do that like right now maybe if he sells me a helmet. Yeah, sure. Normally you'll craft with like barbarian bases, it's better because you can get extra skills on them. But as you can see, if you craft with safety helmets, it'll give you like some PDR. And you can roll all res or like some specific resistances on it, and that's like something you can do in order to get some PDR early on. So if you're just leveling with this build, that's like something I recommend doing. You can craft a safety armor, safety helmet, get some PDR, and that way you're not going to just get you know, slapped around during your campaign run through. So that's a general tip that you can do. For the armor, like the thing that I like doing is Fortitude. Fortitude gives you a lot of damage, gives you res, and you know, gives you like other things like life. So generally very good armor, very recommended. If you don't have a low rune yet, maybe you're just starting, using a rare armor. This is what I used early on, just a rare armor, some res on it, maybe some damage, PDR. That's very, very good. You can craft your armors as well. That's also a solid option. Or use things like a rattle cage is okay. Use like a Lionheart rune ward that also gives you resistances and damage. So these are all sorts of options that you could be utilizing as you're going through the campaign, depending on what you find, of course. It's always like whatever you find is what you go with. So these are all sorts of options that you can utilize early on for the armor. But generally speaking, at the end game, you'll use like a Fortitude, Ethereals if you can, like if you find a really good one, that's an option, or a very good crafted armor that has a lot of PDR, but also has resistances and damage. These are like the three options generally people would go for. For the belt, I generally recommend String of Ears. String of Ears gives you life leech, gives you PDR. There's not a lot of you know, smart stuff about it. If you don't have strings, you can use like dungos. That's also perfectly fine. And if you need anything else like life leech or attack speed, you can use a Nos Coil. In theory, like there's nothing wrong with using Nos Coil, but the PDR on the belt is really worth it, and I recommend it. You don't have one yet, you can use a rare PDR belt till you find one of those, but finding String of Ears is relatively easy since they can drop so early in the campaign. For the gloves, I use Soul Drainers. Now, I know a lot of people like using other gloves, but if you can reach your maximum breakpoint without IS on gloves, then Soul Drainers, of course, great for physical builds. The minus physical resistance is just awesome. It's really, really strong, and the Dual Leech really solves you the problem of getting leech on anything else. These ones are slammed with all res, so it's been really nice in the GSF. For an amulet, generally the go-to amulet for you is High Lords. High Lords and Atmas are like the ones that I kind of think are the leading ones. Atmas for amp, High Lords for the deadly strike and the damage. You have other sources of damage, of course, of critical strike because you have general mastery. But it's good to have that deadly strike. It helps you deal a lot of damage, and specifically I need the IAS from it to reach my final breakpoint. So let me try and demonstrate it, maybe. So I'll charge again using my frenzy. And that's how I kind of played around with my IS till I found out how much IS I need. So So you'll see it says I'm at 9 FPA. If I take it off, I'm at 10 FPA. So I just played around with all sorts of IS items to see what I need on which sword. Just like as a tip, like how to kind of like find out what do you need. You can have just like the items on you, remove them, put them back on, see how they affect your breakpoints if you need them, or if they're just there and you don't actually need them. So that's like a way to kind of find out all these things. But yeah, I've been using High Lords. I've been loving it. This one is slammed with CBF as well, so it gives me my CBF. And Amulet is a good place to get your CBF from. If you don't get it from the Amulet, you can always use a Raven Frost. That's fine because you need a lot of attack rating on this build, but I already got my attack rating elsewhere.